Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah Rahman Rahim. We will continue with the topic of wind energy. In this session, we will discuss horizontal axis wind turbines in detail. Then we will discuss design parameters of wind turbines. Then we will discuss site selection, considerations of wind turbines. If we see the three-blade wind turbine, then the main components of the three-blade wind turbines, let's say we have a three-blade wind turbine, and this is the hub, and we are going to have structure like this. Here we have the drive chain and the generator, and outside we have the yaw mechanism, and let's say here we have the tower for the wind turbine. Now this is the blade of the turbine. Since it is three blade wind turbine, so one blade, two blade and three blade, and this is the hub of the turbine. Now this hub plus blades are the rotor of the turbine. Now this is the drive chain, or you may call this the gearbox. This is the generator connected with the gearbox, and these all components are enclosed or encased in this casing known as the nacelle, and this is additional yaw mechanism for the direction keeping of the wind turbine. This we will discuss later. This is the tower of the wind turbine, and here we have the control system or the transformer. Now just look better view of this wind horizontal axis wind turbine, and apparently this is appear to be a two blade wind turbine, one blade and the two blade, and these are the blades, and this is hub, and this complete part is known as the rotor. Then we have the gearbox and the generator, and this is the yaw mechanism, and all these things are enclosed in this casing which is known as the nacelle. This is the tower and control system, converter, or the transformer. Now rotor includes the blades to convert wind energy into low speed rotational energy, and the cost of this is 20% of the total cost of the wind turbine. And generator includes electrical generator itself, gearbox, and the electronic control system, and the approximate cost is 34% of the total cost of the wind turbine. Then the support structure, it includes tower, the rotor yaw mechanism, and approximate cost is 15% of the total cost of the wind turbine. Now if we talk of the swept area, the area through which the rotor blades of a wind turbine spin, as seen here, when directly facing the center of the rotor blades. The power output of a wind turbine is directly related to the swept area of its blades. The larger the diameter of its blades, the more power can be extracted from the wind turbine. Let's say if we think of a again 3 blade wind turbine. Now let's say this is the center. Now from center, the length of each blade, that is same. So the overall area that is going to be in circular shape, and this length is, if we take, this is the length of the blade, so we take it R. So the area we can calculate by 2 pi R square, and this is the swept area. Let's suppose the swept area is AS. So we can calculate this swept area of the turbine by this 2 pi R square if we know the length of the blade. So this is going to be AS. Now power output of the turbine, let's say, that is directly proportional to the swept area. More the swept area, more the length of the blade, the more is going to be the swept area and more is going to be the power output. Now we will discuss design parameters of the wind turbine. The first one is the rotor axis orientation. And in this rotor axis orientation, you may go for the horizontal axis wind turbine or vertical axis wind turbine. So this is rotor axis orientation. You are considering for the design of horizontal axis wind turbine or vertical axis wind turbine. Now next is the number of blades. For the wind turbine. You may consider one blade turbine like this. Let's say this is the tower of the turbine and we are considering one blade. Now the limitation of one blade turbine would be like to counter balance the weight of this one blade, you have to have some counterweight attached with it. So to balance this is additional expenditure. Still we would be having one blade, but we need to have the one blade, the attachment of the counterweight. So this is the limitation, a disadvantage of having one blade wind turbine. Now if you talk of a two blade wind turbine like this. Two blade wind turbine. Now the point to consider is that, and remind you, we are talking of a megawatt wind turbine where the length of the blade is approximately, that is going to be 40 meter. And I have already told you that the tower and the hub you are going to place, that is 3 times of the length of the blade. If the length of the blade that is 40 meter, so the height from here to here is going to be 120 meters. And further, if we add 40, so up till here the height is going to be 160 meter from the ground. Now let's see the velocity, the wind velocity that would be at this 160 meter height from the ground. Let's say this is going to be v1 velocity, and the velocity we are having here, that is roughly at 80 meter from the ground, we are having this v2. Now v1 is not equal to v2, and because of this there is going to be difference in wind velocity, and there is chances of the structure of the blade or the hub is going to be damaged. So we are experiencing difference in wind velocity. Once we are talking of two blade wind turbine, at the tip of the top of the blade and tip of the bottom blade, once it is in placed in vertical direction, and altogether there is going to be, after some period of time, there is going to be this position. So the velocity is going to interact with this blade tip of the top of the blade, that is going to be varying. So we are going to have difference in wind velocity, and because of that there is a chances of breakage in anywhere in the blade or at the connection with the blade with the hub. The second thing, then once the lower plate that passes in front of the tower, there is going to be the shading effect. Now once we are talking of shading effect, it is nothing but the negative pressure. So once the lower blade that is passing in front of the tower, because the top plate is in at that very moment vertical direction, so irrespective the difference in the wind velocity, the itself, because of the negative pressure, the shading effect, there is going to be extra stresses produced on the hub and the blades. So this is disadvantage having the two blade wind turbines. Now after that we consider the three blade wind turbine, and in three blade wind turbines these two problems are resolved. There is no difference in velocity, because there is no position at one time the top blade is at and the bottom, the second blade is just behind, opposite direction. So this problem is resolved. Now talking of, let's consider the four blade. Again in four blade wind turbine there may be position like this, and here you have the nacelle and you have the tower. So in four blade wind turbine again these two problems would be there. the difference in velocity, the tip of the top blade and at the tip of the lower blade is going to differ. So difference in wind velocity, and if at all there is no difference in the wind velocity by any chance, so there is going to be the shading effect. So any even number, so conclusion is that even number turbines, even number of blade turbines like 2, 4, 6, 8 and so on are going to confront with these problems. So these even number design, even number blade designs of wind turbine is not considered suitable. Now see the odd number of blade turbines, let's say 3, 5, 7 and so on. Now these are considered suitable. But if you just think that you are moving from 3 blade wind turbine to 5 blade wind turbine, now how much cost you are going to increase overall by including 1 and 2 blades. So the cost of the turbine is increased because of the addition of this blade. So as far as the output is concerned, the power output that is not commensurating with that increase in the cost. So ideally nowadays this is in practice that we are using 3 blade wind turbines. So we are not using, the designers are not preferring 1 blade turbine, 2 blade turbine, 4 blade or any even number of blade turbines, and they are sticking to the 3 blade wind turbines. Now the next consideration is the rotor orientation. Now rotor orientation means the upwind wind turbines or the downwind wind turbines. In upwind wind turbines, let's say we have a turbine and this is the this is the rotor of the turbine and it is facing towards the wind direction. The wind is coming from this direction. Now this is upwind turbine. Now the issue with this upwind wind turbine is that it has to be all the time facing towards the wind direction from which the wind is coming. So we need to have some mechanism, that is yaw mechanism, additional attached profile with the wind turbine for the direction keeping. So we know that the direction of the wind is changing all the time. So keep the rotor of the turbine in line with the direction of the wind. You need to have a extra mechanism, extra profile attached like here, so that it is in line with the direction of the wind. So this is upwind wind turbine, and if you are designing a wind turbine like this, that the wind is coming from the behind, now the rotor is facing to the opposite side, so this is downwind wind turbine. Now this is the advantage. Once there is a direction change in direction of the wind, automatically the rotor direction that is going to be changed in line with the direction of the wind. So this is the advantage of downwind wind turbine. However, for the case of upwind wind turbine, all the time for the direction keeping, you need to have extra mechanism, extra profile attached with the nacelle, and this is so that it is in line with the direction of the wind. Now, next is the hub design. Again, here we have the option go for the rigid hub design, teetering hub designs, or you have the hinged hub design. Now let's say we have a two blade wind turbine. Now these blades are permanently attached or welded with the hub. So this is for the case of rigid. So it has to sustain all the pressure because of the wind difference at the tip of the top blade and the tip of the bottom blade or the any other effect. So this is the rigid, and this may be suitable for the small size wind turbines, but this is not suitable for the large size wind turbine. Another design, that is teetering design. Now with any reason, if there is a difference in velocity maybe, so because of that, altogether the rotor position is changed. This is going to be tilted like this, like in helicopters. So maybe because of the wind velocity difference at the wind velocity at the top and wind velocity at the bottom, maybe this is one of the reason, and you are having some mechanism that altogether there is a tilt in the hub. So this is teetering design. Now if you are talking of a hinged design, now if you are talking of a hinge design, now independently each blade may shift its position. The other blades are same, are remains at same place, but independently these are hinged. So these are the three design consideration for hub design. These are rigid for the small size wind turbines and preferably hinged for the large size wind turbines. Now the next consideration is the rotor speed. You may go for the designing of rotor with fixed or variable. Let's say we have a turbine, we have three blade wind turbine, and wind is coming with some velocity, and this linear velocity is striking to the blades of the wind turbine, and because of that there is a rotation, angular rotation, RPM, and we know that the speed of the wind, that is changing all the time. Now with the change in velocity of the wind, this angular velocity of the turbine, that is going to change. So if you are designing as such that this change is going to be with in relation with the velocity of the wind, so that is variable rotor speed design, or if you design as such whatsoever is the velocity of the wind, this rotor speed is going to be rotational spore is going to be fixed. So this is one of the consideration you design for fixed rotor speed or variable rotor speed. Now next consideration is the power control. Now again, for this power control you may have the stall mechanism, or you may have the pitch mechanism. Let's say if you have a blade profile like this and wind is coming and striking this profile, so you make the aerofoil of the blade is such that there is going to be the favorable ratio between the lift and the drag. So you are making the profile of the blade as such that there is going to be no change as far as the rotation. So that is, you are controlling the power through stall mechanism. And if you are talking of a pitch mechanism, you attach other sensors with the blade, like if you have traveled through the plane, so you must have observed that during takeoff and landing the blade, the wind turbine, the aeroplane wings, they have the additional flappers, they slides outward. So this profile is going to change by adding these profile. You have sensors, and these sensors give, they provide information to the control system, and due to that control system these additional profile or the flappers, they control the speed or the power. So this is pitch mechanism. So for the power control you have the two options. You may go for the fixed profile, that is the stall mechanism, or you may go for the pitch mechanism. Then is the direction control. And this is specifically for the upwind wind turbine. You may have the fixed yaw, or you may have the active yaw mechanism. And specifically this is for the upwind wind turbine, because for the case of downwind wind turbines there is no requirement of this yaw mechanism, because the automatically the wind turbine direction is changing along with the direct change in the direction of the wind. But you need to have some mechanism for the direction keeping for the upwind wind turbine. So you have to add some additional profile with the nacelle. This is the nacelle. So you may have the fixed, this is may suitable for the small size wind turbines, but for large size wind turbines you need to have extra active yaw mechanism, where you again have the sensors which gives signal to the control system, and accordingly the profile that is changing in accordance to change with the direction of the wind turbine. Then the rotor blade. For the case of rotor blade, the consideration of the profile of the blade, the material which is used for the manufacturing of the blade itself, the manufacturing process or route followed for the manufacturing of blade, and itself testing of the blade, because this turbine has to survive for roughly 20 and above years the load in the field. Now next is the tower. This tower has to carry all the load of the nacelle, generator, the rotor, drive chain. So you may go for the concrete towers, tubular steel towers, or you may go for the latest towers. So here you can see these are the concrete towers, you have tubular steel towers, and you have the latest towers like here. Now the site selection consideration. The first one, that is wind as obstacle. Obstacles to the wind such as buildings, trees, rock formations and more can decrease wind speed significantly, and they often create turbulence. Turbulence is more pronounced behind the obstacle than in front of it. Therefore, it is best to avoid major obstacle close to the wind turbines, particularly if they are upward wind turbines in the prevailing wind direction in front of the turbines. The decrease in wind speed depends on the porosity of the obstacle. Let's say if we are talking of a obstacle in the form of building. Let's say we have a building and wind is coming from this direction, and after striking the wind is going to move like this. So actually this building poses obstacle in front of the wind. So you have to get away with this obstacle. You have to install turbines much away from this, and further this causes turbulence, and this turbulence is more significant behind the obstacle. So here is going to be much more turbulence. This is not in front of the obstacle, and further this is going to decrease the speed. If you are talking of obstacle in the form of trees, now if you are talking of trees, now let's say number of trees in that very vicinity. So the porosity, it depends on the how much open area is available, and this we will see in detail here. The porosity of an obstacle is a percentage indication of how open an obstacle is, how easily the wind can pass through it. Porosity is defined as the open area divided by the total area of that very obstacle. Now if you are talking of a wind of a wall, so there is no porosity, the 0% open area. So this kind of trees you have 30% porosity, for this 50%, and this is 70%. So you have to mirror if you are talking for the site selection near to the trees. So you have to calculate the porosity, that is the open area is available for the passing of the wind. Then the wind shedding effect. Now if again taking the example of the building, and the wind is coming from this direction, After striking, the wind is going above and again moving like this. Now wind shade means how far as far as the height is going to be attained after striking the obstacle. So this is preferred if at all you have to install the wind turbines, it is to be 5 times from the height of the obstacle where you won't be having any turbulence. Wind shelter effect, again it is the distance you have to calculate so that you don't have any effect of this obstacle that is causing turbulence in the wind. Now next is the wind speed. When you talk of a wind speed, so there are three types. Cut-in wind speed, the minimum wind speed at which the machine, the wind turbine, will deliver useful power, and this is 3 to 5 meter per second. And rated wind speed, the wind speed at which the rated power, generally maximum power output of the electrical generator, is reached. So this is rated wind speed. Then the cutout wind speed, the wind turbine will be programmed to stop at high wind speeds approximately 25 meter per second and above in order to avoid damage to the turbine or its surroundings. Now if we talk of a rated wind speed, and this is also termed as the design speed of the turbine. Let's say you have a design speed of 12 meter per second. At 12 meter per second, you are going to have maximum output. So this is the wind that is coming. If it is coming at 12 meter per second, the maximum is going to be the output, the extraction of wind energy into the electricity you are going to get. So this is the design speed, and we know that the wind velocity that is not going to remain same. It may go 14 meter per second or it may drop to 10 meter per second. And if there is an increase in the wind velocity, that let's say this is the design speed at which we have the maximum output in terms of the electricity we are getting, and the speed of the wind that is increased by 2 meter per second and total 14 meter per second. Now the output of the power that is going to drop, and again if the speed is dropped to 10 meter per second, we are going to have the same result. So with the increase or decrease from the design speed that is 12 meter per second, we are going to have the lower power output. The maximum power output we are getting at the rated wind speed, that is, let's say this is going to differ wind turbine to wind turbine. Maybe the another turbine is having 10 meter per second or 15 meter per second the design speed, but this is true that if the wind speed that is increased from the design speed or decreases from the design speed, the power output is also going to be declined. Now as far as the starting of the wind turbine, that is cut-in speed, that is roughly 3 to 5 meter per second. This is the speed of the wind at which the rotor of the turbine start spinning. the linear energy that is going to be captured by this rotor and the spinning of the rotor that starts. So this is the cut-in speed, and the cutout speed is that which is dangerous for the turbine structures. It may damage the turbine blades or the hub and any other component. So that is approximately 25 per meter per second, the speed. At 25 meter per second, you have to stop the wind turbine so that get away with the any damage. So this plot is also showing same thing. Here we have the wind speed in meter per second, and here we have the power output, and the maximum power output we are getting at, let's say, 18 meter per second. So we can say that the this is plot for the case of a wind turbine. It's and where it's designed, the rated wind speed is 18 meter per second. So 18 meter per second, the wind turbine is producing the maximum power outputs in kilowatts. And once the speed is lower, the power output that is also decreasing. Once the wind velocity, wind speed, that is meter per second, that is increasing from this 18 meter per second, again the power output that is decreasing. So every wind turbine, the point to make out is that at every wind point has its rated. So let's say its rated wind speed is 18 meter per second. Above that and below that, the power output is going to drop. And as far as the starting is speed, that is the cut-in speed, that is 3 to 5 meter, and after that at 20, or you may say the 24 meter per second, you have to stop the turbines. So with this we will end our discussion here. Allah Hafiz.